everyone, and welcome back to another Gen Mouse 45 video for the month, as well as the first video for 2025. So, yay! First video! Woo! So, today we're going to be talking about A Court of Thorn and Roses. I'm going to be sharing how I joined the fandom, what I like about the fandom, as well as provide a reflection and review on the first book of this series. You can see it here. I know it's not like the traditional red one, but there it is, A Court of Thorn and Roses. So, and I am dressed as Feyre, the youngest sister of the three. So, and yes, I know I'm wearing glasses, and she doesn't wear glasses in the book, but in order to see my notes, which are off screen, I need my glasses, so bear with me. If you check out my videos and TikToks and all that, you'll notice I'm not wearing glasses, so I'm going to put that out there. So, me doing a book review of the first book, personal reflection, how I joined the series, some cosplays I have done or plan on doing. A few disclaimers before we get started. I am not affiliated or sponsored by the series. I am just a fan wanting to share my experiences and maybe secretly get my friends to join the fandom, or at least appreciate it a bit more, because I'll probably be talking about it a lot more, as I explained in my review. Ruby hiatus, a little bit dragging, Dragon Prince just wrapped up, so on to something new. So very, very excited to talk about it. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so first impression of A Court of Thorn and Roses was on TikTok and Instagram primarily. It was mostly just like people talking about what they thought about the series, what they thought about like specific books. I was then like curious about it because of course, I was trying to get back into like reading for fun, because I have like reading for work, which is very different than reading for fun. So I was a bit curious about it, and I saw someone in a Discord server kind of talk about the first book towards the end of 2023. They shared a link to a YouTube channel which is called The Reading Hag Returns, and I started listening to a person read the books to the ambience of music and other sounds with some visuals as well. I started listening to the first book on October 13th, 2023 until about October 25th, which I then listened to the second book, A Court of Mist and Fury. Then I started the third book about a week before Christmas. I know it took a little bit longer, but I was studying for the final exam at that point. I started the third book about the week of Christmas, A Court of Wings and Ruin, until about January 13th, which surprisingly is tomorrow. Then I started listening to the fourth book, again on the YouTube channel, which was A Court of Starlight and Frost shortly after. I have not read the last book. I have reasons about not reading the last book. I will eventually get to the last book. I have seen spoilers, and that's totally fine, so I'll get there eventually. So I would listen to the books on YouTube after I would study, with the first book being a bit harder to start, as it is a slower start. I will say it was a bit difficult to get into. It's like, okay, like, when's the magic gonna happen? Speed it up. The fourth book will always be my favorite. I know it's a little bit not everyone's cup of tea, but surprisingly, when I started listening to the first chapter of A Court of Starlight and Frost, it was actually snowing outside. I did have a cup of tea, I was like all done with studying, I was like all nice and cozied up and like listening to the person reading, so that's probably why it's my favorite. I had like that whole ambiance, just a nice quiet moment to kind of listen to the story. Speaking of, I do not think the audiobooks are up. I wanted to go back and re-listen to it, experience that again, and I don't think they're up anymore, which is a bit sad because I liked listening to the person narrate it. They had such a good voice, like voicing all of the different characters. There's quite a bit of characters, the music, the way it was all put together, it was just so well done, and I was a little bit heartbroken. I was like, oh, so now I have to go and get the paper version, which is fine. Yeah. So in March 2024, I went and bought the first book and took some time reading the first book. Then in October 2024, I bought the second book, and I'm slowly reading through it. So I'm about halfway through the second book again, like reading it on paper. I'm kind of taking my time because I'm trying to understand the magic of the world. I know some people are in it for the story. I'm in it for world building, lore, I'm only buying like one book at a time when I'm like 90% of the way done. So whenever I was like 90% of the way done here, I went and just got the second book. Because I feel like if I buy all the books at once, I'm going to feel like more rushed or procrastinate on reading. So it's like, okay, like I have a couple chapters left. I'll go get the next one. So when I'm done, I can then start the next one. So that's just something on me. I also have merch from Hot Topic, Amazon, and got the amazing advent calendar from Gadgets for Entertainment. And we'll post that blog here soon, but I did want to show. This is probably my favorite little compact mirror with the city of Valence on it. It's so cute. I love it. Let me see. I first started posting A Court of Thorns and Roses TikToks on the day that Rooster Teeth announced that they were shutting down. Normally on like Tuesdays or Wednesdays I would post like, you know, oh, like Ruby content, Ruby cracks and stuff, but I was like, yeah, I'm gonna switch it up, I'm gonna post A Court of Thorns and Roses, and then Rooster Teeth like we're shutting down, and I'm like, is this punishment? Am I being punished? I internalized that, but then it's like, no, this is a separate video on that. Check it out on Demon interviews and stuff. So it's back to this. So yet here now posting just some variety, and of course posting content that I enjoy. So you'll see A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm still gonna post Ruby, the Dragon Prince, all that good stuff. You gotta switch it up sometimes, and you gotta post things that you want to post, that you enjoy. And I enjoy A Court of Thorns and Roses. I hope other people enjoy A Court of Thorns and Roses. So that's why we're here. Speaking of which, let's do a book review / reflection of the first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses. Similar to my other book review that I did, A Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I won't go into all the details, but provide a nice summary, parts that I liked, and then what I thought about the story and its writing. But now looking at this, I did kind of go into a lot of detail. There's a lot, and I know I'm not going to cover everything. I'm just getting the basics of it. So again, my friends can secretly join me on this side. Alright, and with that, let's go ahead and get started. So the story takes place in a land called Prythian, where humans are confined to a small bit of land, and the land of the Fae takes place above the wall. So mortal lands here. You have the wall that prevents like Fae and humans from like entering the lands, which we find out later. Not true. But you have mortal land, and then you have all of the Fae that live in their courts. So I hope that wasn't a spoiler. I don't think so. Alright, so we see Feyra Archeron, I hope I said that right, is introduced as she is out in a snowy woods hunting. She sees a deer and is about to take aim when something else approaches, a wolf. She is unsure if it is a real wolf or a Fae transformed, but she takes aim at the wolf, since she did not like or trusted fairies, who had pounced on the deer, and the wolf dies by her ash arrows, a sure way to kill the Fae. And also, too, this starts everything in motion for later books to understand. Feyre takes the deer home, wrapped in the wolf's pellet, and her sisters, Nesta and Elaine, are a bit ungrateful and rude. This is my first impression of them. They are just sending the youngest out into the woods in the snow, and I'm just like, really? Really? I'm an older sister, so I'm like, if that happened, I would be the one to be going out. So I was just, I don't know. Maybe there's some dynamic that'll come into play later on. So they're a bit ungrateful and rude, you know, they're starting to say like, oh, well, you know, if you sell the pellet, like I need new boots, I need a new cloak, I need this, I need that, you need to go sit down, child. Well, their father, a man with a limp after he lost money and had his leg beaten, so they were once very rich, very, very good. I think he's a merchant. I think in the second book she said like he's a merchant, but he lost money, you know, when people came out and beat his leg, and then they were reduced to their little shack in the woods. But the father says that she brought them in a feast. The sisters go out the next day, which we meet the children of light, and another character who Feyre talks to and sells the pellet to. Later that night, the family is met by a fearsome beast who calls them murderers. It turns out that he was the friend of the wolf, who was indeed a Fae, and that according to the treaty, that the person that killed the friend was either to die on the spot or be taken to the lands of Prythian forever. Feyre confesses she did it, and the beast can smell a truth from a lie. Oh my gosh, I was just talking about the Dragon Prince on Demon Interviews last night, and the dragons were able to smell truth from a lie. Seems to be a common theme here. I gotta make one of my OCs do that. Topic for another time. Feyre leaves with him, and she is riding a horse shackled to the horse by magic and sent to sleep until they reach the Feylands. She arrives at the spring court, and after being, washed up, dressed, and all that stuff, she is told to eat the food. However, she was warned as a child to never eat the fairy food. She meets Tamlin, the beast who had taken her, and Lucien, an emissary. They both wear a mask on their face. Feyre talks with the two, finding out a bit about their history, and then mocking her for being such a frail girl that shot a wolf fae. When walking with Tamlin to see paintings, which Feyre loves to do, you will find out in the series that she loves to paint, we learn that there is a sickness in Prythian and could spread to the human lands. Feyre continues to reflect and learn about Prythian. She learns about the bog and is frightened, and she tries to go back to the human lands, but is stopped by Tamlin. She says she told her mother she would look after her sisters. Mind you, she is the youngest. We also see she cannot read, and she finds a map of all of Prythian. She talks to Lucien about how to catch a cereal. She does so successfully, and we learn about Hybern and the things that might be yet to come. The cereal says to stay with the High Lord, and that she will be safe. But then they realize, in their moment of talking, that they're not alone. Feyre is attacked by the Naga, which Tamlin saves her. Their relationship starts to grow a bit more with each twist and turn that happens at the Spring Court Manor. We then learn about a tradition called, I don't know how to say this, I'm going to try my best, Calanime. I want to say calamari each time, and I'm like, that ain't it. But it's a tradition, the day of the Fire Night. Tamlin warns Feyre to stay in, and she doesn't, and goes out into the night to the festivities, where she encounters fae, high fae, all kinds of different people, creatures and then she encounters some specific fae who find out that she is indeed a human woman. She grows a bit more afraid until we hear a male voice say, "There you are, I've been looking for you," and she sees the most beautiful man ever. He tries to flirt and tease, but she doesn't pay him no mind, looking for Tamlin. However, she finds out the true meaning of the tradition, and I'm not sure if I am able to describe here on YouTube what exactly that is. Go read the book. But, yeah, Lucien finds her, thankfully, ushers her back to the manor, and locks the door. The next day, the stranger that Feyre had met that night comes back, who finds out about Feyre, who is glamored by Lucien. So glamour is kind of like like a spell, I guess you could say, where you can like transform or like alter somebody's mind to think of like they look different, smell different. Maybe not smell. But yeah, they basically look different, but doesn't fool the stranger. So the stranger tries to create pain in Feyre until she gives him a fake name, Claire Bedor, someone she knew in her village in the human lands. Stranger, who we learned his name is Rizan, leaves saying Amarantha will not be happy to see a human girl in the fairylands. Soon after, there is trouble and fights among the spring court that cause high tensions, that Tamlin tells Feyre to go back to the village, and we learn the family was glamored into thinking Feyre was taking care of a sick aunt, and they were set up with riches. Before she leaves, Tamlin tells Feyre, "I love you," but she doesn't reply. She goes back to the mortal lands and finds her family doing well. However, we learn Nesta tried to go find Feyre, as she could not resist some of the glamour effects, and was sent back to the mortal lands. Feyre is sad about what all that is happening to Tamlin, and after learning that Claire Bedor's house was burned down, she journeys back to Prythian. So Feyre arrives back at the spring court, which is now destroyed, it's destructed and everything. However, Alice, a maid who helped Feyre whenever Feyre was first there, told Feyre all that she needed to know, that Amaranthan was indeed back, and after 50 years, Tamlin did not find love, so she took the spring court to a place called Under the Mountain. Feyre demands to go there, and Elise does take her telling her to not do 3 things. Do not give your real name, do not drink the wine, and do not make a deal with the Fae. Feyre goes in, and the ACOTAR grabs at her, bringing her to meet Amaranthan. We also see Tamlin sitting beside her, almost forlorn. We find out Claire died, and Feyre knew that should have been her. Feyre says she loves Tamlin, and Amaranthan will free them after Feyre did 3 trials, or if she solved a riddle first, which the riddle goes something like this. There are those who seek me a lifetime, but never we meet, and those I kiss, but who trample me beneath ungrateful feet. At times I seem to favor the clever and the fair, but I bless all those who are brave enough to dare. By large, my ministrations are soft-handed and sweet, but scorned I become a difficult beast to defeat. For though each of my strikes lands a powerful blow, when I kill, I do it slowly. Please place your guesses in the thing below, because I think everybody solved it before Feyre, so poor girl. We also see the Ring of Jurian's Eye, who killed one of Amaranthan's sisters, so there's a whole thing about that again. Not sure if YouTube strike me down, but yeah. He killed one of the sisters, she got revenge, took his eye, made a ring out of it, very gross. The ACOTAR then attacks Feyre, breaking bones and causing her to lose consciousness. The first trial is given after Feyre gives her real name. Wait, oh, 1. Down to 2. Feyre has to escape a giant worm called a Middengard worm, and Feyre runs to save her life. It wasn't until some sneering fairies gave her a hint, and she made a bone ladder to escape the muck in the mud pit. She smears herself with mud to hide her scent, as noted by Rhysand. Oh yeah, he's down there too, by the way. Feyre now is invisible to the scent and armed with a bone as a weapon, when she hears Lucien shout, "On your left," and she dodges the worm and manages to stab it in the mouth, and the worm dies. Amaranthan is not impressed, and Feyre hurls the bone at her, but it turns into mud, which sparkle. Not sparkles, I don't think mud can sparkle. Maybe? I don't know. Which, like splatters. There we go. Splatters on her dress. There we go. Feyre is placed in her cell, and her wounds are not attended to. Oh yeah, by this point she is like all beaten up, bruised, broken bones. She's going through it. Rhysand visits, and she makes a deal to be healed. That's 2. You have 1 more left. I was screaming. I was like, are you dumb? Stop. I understand, but just... She is given a tattoo on her left arm as part of the bargain to visit once a week each month. Rhysand also has her dress up in a gauzy thin dress and painted before being ushered to a large room and having her drink the Fae wine, and she dances, and she doesn't remember what happens the next day. So that's 3. Girl, why you do this? She's doing it because she realized that she loved Tamlin, but it was too late. It's like, you're doing this to yourself. Alright, the second trial arrives, where Feyre has to read riddles on a wall to stop a set of spikes coming down from the ceiling onto her and Lucien, as his punishment for helping her in the first trial, and she finds herself... Yeah, and also too, remember, she can't read. She's illiterate, she never learned how to read, her sisters didn't teach her to read, so... Yeah, Lucien realized he was screwed. It's okay. Those TikTok memes are quite funny, I would say. But yes, so, however, as she's trying to figure it out, she finds her mind being pulled to the right lever, and she manages to stop the spikes from coming down. Feyre is saddened by all the torment she's been through. She's placed in her cell, she's not given enough to eat, she's hurt, she feels her soul about to break, when suddenly there's music in her cell, unlike anything she heard before, and she regains her strength for the 3rd trial. We also see her interactions with Rhysand, and it's definitely enemies. They're not getting along, but she realizes he is keeping her alive. The 3rd trial arrives, and Feyre has not solved the riddle that I read before, so she is instructed to stab the hearts of 3 innocent fairies. She does the first, a male who pleaded with her to not take his life. The second was a female who prayed throughout the whole ordeal. The third was Tamlin. Feyre is convinced at first that it is him, but realizes that she could not kill him, as he had a heart of stone. She stabs him, and Amaranthin is enraged, threatening to kill Feyre. She goes over to Feyre, tries to choke her, beats on her, and as Feyre's consciousness begins to swim, she answers the riddle, which the answer was love. She solves it, however Feyre's spine is cracked, and she dies. Meanwhile, Tamlin finally does something. Oh yeah, by the way, Tamlin hasn't done anything at this point, but now he finally does something. As, Feyre's spine, his true love and all that, dies in front of him. So he becomes enraged, and he then kills Amarantha. Amarantha. He then goes over to Feyre's body. The other High Lords go to Feyre and give her a small piece of their magic. So each of the courts give a little bit of their magic to Feyre. She revives as a High Fae, and she sees Tamlin without the mask and is grateful to be alive. She doesn't want to talk about the events just then, and the two share a sweet kiss and decide to go back to the Spring Court. Before leaving, Feyre goes out and talks to Rhysand about his plans. Just as he is about to winnow away, I'll talk about winnowing in the second book, he stumbles and looks at her with surprise, but before she can ask what is wrong, he disappears. The mountain is then sealed off, and Feyre goes home to the Spring Court. And that's it. I know I skipped a lot. I know there's a lot of little nitpicky things here and there, but I just wanted to give a basic review of what the book entails. And if you're thinking to yourself, this kind of sounds like Beauty and a Beast in a way, it kind of does give that vibe at first. And I think that was kind of my impression, because that's like one of my favorite stories, as well as like Disney films. # not sponsored. That's bad. But yeah, it definitely gives like that Beauty and the Beast. Like Tamlin's like the beast, he's all sealed up and everything. Feyre is like the beauty, obviously, and she has to like go in and like melt his heart away. And then he becomes this handsome prince once the mask is off. So speaking of that, I was a Tamlin girly. I will admit to my shame. I was forever changed in the second book. But yes, I was definitely a Tamlin girly. Rereading it a second time, I saw all the red flags. It reminds me of a past relationship I once had, so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. But I was like, no, they're bonding. And then I was like, wait a minute, they're trauma bonding. Wait a minute. Yeah, so, but yeah. I was a Tamlin girly, but then after the second book, I promise you, I have a change of heart. Final thoughts about the book. A bit of a slow start. I did mention that early on. It is, first couple chapters kind of drive, so okay. But then once Tamlin enters the cabin, then it's like, ooh, okay. But then it's like more talk about the Spring Court, and Prythian is like, ugh. But then like Feyre has to leave, and it's like, eh. And then she comes back, and then like everything happens towards the end of the book. Like that's where all the action is. And a lot of like the second and the third book especially, like that's what it feels like towards the end. It's like, whoa, I can't remember the end of the fourth book. Oh, I'm blinking. It's been a year, but that's okay. I'll get there eventually. I'm a slow reader. But yeah, like I said before, it picks up at the end, and by then you can't put it down. Alright, so, and also too, at first I wasn't a serial girly, but I promise you I am now. I was just like, this seems creepy. You have to be like specific with your questions, and you read your mind, and it knows things, but it doesn't know things, and I'm just like, so conflicted, but so far, now serial girly. And I'll talk more about them here in a second. I'm on board with Lucian, even like with the other books and stuff. I don't know why. Like going back and trying to like reread and stuff, I'm just like, he really tried to nitpick and like push Feyre's buttons, but at the same time he is protective of her and like looking out for her, so I'm just like, I don't know what to do with this character. Please explain. Somebody in the comments, why should I be a Lucian appreciator? Maybe if he had his own book or something, maybe, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I know he endured a lot. And maybe at first he was just like dealing with his grief. I don't know if he was close to the wolf rat. what's his name? Andreas. Andreas or something. I don't know, like, if they were close, like, Tamlin and him were close. That maybe he was just, like, using snarky remarks at Feyre to, like, kind of conceal his grief. If so, I can understand that. Some people do that. It's a defense mechanism. But, yeah. I don't know. Maybe as I reread the books and stuff, maybe it might come to me. But if he had his own book, or, like, a separate short story about him and, like, what he had been through and stuff, it opened up my eyes a little bit. What I also liked about Feyre was it kind of reminded me a little bit of like Katniss Everdeen and from the Hunger Games and Triss from Divergent, just like strong female protagonists, you know, doing anything for the people that they love, trying to protect, likes to get the work done, you know, trying to be a creative solution thinker and all this stuff. So starting rebellions, as we'll see. And then of course, like I said before, I'm a Rhysand girly now. I love him, especially rereading the second book and stuff, but like rereading that part of like their first meeting and stuff. Like now it all makes sense, like why he specifically said that sentence. So I'll probably explain that in my second book review. When will that be? I'm hoping this summer, just to have something out there, but I don't want to rush it. I think like a little bit more than halfway through my second book and reread. That's gonna be a lot of notes because it's a chunky book. It's chunky. That's okay. So this one wasn't too bad of a read, so it's like pretty good. Like I said before, probably skipped a bunch of details, but overall, not too bad. Really, really enjoyed it. So hopefully one day there will be a series. I'm not picky either way, live action, animation, whichever one. Okay, so let's see. So we talked about the book, reflections and all that, just a couple parting notes. So future plans with the Court of Thorns and Roses. I do a bunch of different Feyre cosplays. I'm actually doing a little bit today because it snowed. Like in the beginning she was in that snowy world, so kind of excited about that. I also have plans to cosplay as the cereal. So I have cereal cosplays I'm so excited for. So I was originally going to do face painting and stuff. Then I got a little bit nervous because I kind of want to do him over and over again. Or them. Let me say them. I want to do them over and over again, so I did buy a mask. It's not going to be completely accurate, but once I hold the teacup, people will be like, oh yeah. It's like a skeleton creature. Then you hold the teacup. The cereal? Oh, I don't know how to make that work. Anyway. So cereal and more. So more you'll meet in book 2 and everything, but she's the cousin of Rhysand and absolute queen in my heart and mind. So really want to cosplay as her. To continue cosplaying as Feyre, whether it be human Feyre, whether it be elf Feyre and all that. Maybe attend a convention dressed as her. I feel like I cheated a little bit in the tattoo that she gets on her left hand as part of the bargain. I was thinking about hand painting it, but I actually opted for like a skin tone colored glove. And kind of see the eye. Some of it I'm proud of, some of them I'm not. I like these like little lines. I don't know what's going on here. Maybe I was trying to do the mountains and grow. I don't know. It's all up to your interpretation. I used a bunch of different artists from like Pinterest and stuff, so thank you to those that just had like basic ideas because I didn't quite seen it in full, but this was my interpretation. So this is just for her left side. Later on she does her right side and stuff, which I'll probably talk about in the second book. Pretty sure second book. So we'll talk about it then. Let me see. I'm also working on a Court of Thorns and Roses OCs, original characters. Of course I am. Never have enough OCs. Just kind of want to help with the world building and the magic, because it does get a bit confusing at times. It's just like, okay, well this character can do that, but that one can't. So kind of just want to either restructure or be like, maybe you could take this? I don't know. I have so many disclaimers on my Wattpad, but yeah, just kind of see. That's going to be like further down the road because I got a lot of other stuff to write. Real money coming soon. I also have a Court of Thorns and Roses Discord server. So we just have like share cosplays, memes, jokes, talk about the books, all that good stuff. So if you want to join a Court of Thorns and Roses Discord server, message jen.cosplays45 on my Instagram. I'll have a link tree down below. And go follow and support. But yeah, message that and let me know that you want to join, and I'll get you that Discord. That is all I have for now for this video until the next A Court of Thorns and Roses book review / reflection. But I want to know, are you part of the fandom? What stood out to you about the book and the books, or the book series, about the characters? What's something that you thought was interesting to hear? So make sure to leave a kind comment down below, subscribe for more, and leave a like, thumbs up. Thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully everyone's taking care, staying safe, and as always, peace, love, and kindness. Bye everyone!